Today I am going to discuss the double sideband suppressed carrier modulation. Okay, so it is the modified version of the simple double sideband amplitude modulation. In case of the amplitude modulation, three parts or the three components of the signal is generally transmitted as the modulated signal. One is the unchanged carrier, second is the upper sideband, and third is the lower sideband. Okay, now generally the upper sideband and lower sideband carries the information, and the unmodulated carrier term or the unchanged carrier term does not carry any information. It will just wastage of power. In order to increase the transmission efficiency, we have to just reject this particular term or suppress this particular term. That's why this method is called the suppressed carrier. In case of the double sideband suppressed carrier modulation technique or DSB-SC technique, the unchanged carrier term is suppressed and rest of the two terms, that is the upper sideband as well as the lower sideband, are transmitted as the modulated signal. So the transmission efficiency increased. I will discuss those later. Before that, I am just starting the analysis of the DSB-SC modulation. So CT is the carrier signal, as I mentioned earlier also. CT is a cosinusoidal signal having the amplitude of AC. FC is the frequency of it, which is much greater than the message signal's highest frequency W. MT is arbitrary message signal or the modulating signal. It is 2. Okay. So now what will be the modulated signal? After doing the DSB-SC modulation, it is nothing but the multiplication of modulating signal or the message signal with the carrier signal. See that it is nothing but the multiplication of the message signal MT and the carrier signal AC cos 2 pi FC T. It is the modulated signal for the DSB-SC modulation. Now what is the procedure of generating the DSB-SC signal? There is a particular type of modulator that is called the product modulator. Product modulator will do the multiplication operation between two inputs of its own. Okay, so two inputs are, one is the message signal MT, another is the carrier signal CT. When both of them will given as input to the product modulator, it will generate the product of these two signals as the output, that is the ST or modulated signal, which is nothing but having this form. This is the DSB-SC signal. Now one thing, what is the difference between this signal and the amplitude modulated signal? Just try to remember that along with this term, in case of the ordinary amplitude modulated signal, there is another term, that is the carrier term. Okay, it was added here. This term is nothing but the upper sideband plus lower sideband. If you just decompose this cosine function, one will be the upper sideband, another will be the lower sideband, and plus one unchanged carrier were there in case of the modulated signal of ordinary AM. That was actually suppressed here. Okay, so now actually DSB-SC signal reduces to 0 when message signal is switched off. Thing is that when the message signal is switched off, see that when MT is made 0, then this ST will be also 0. That means by just switching of the message signal, there will be no transmission for DSB-SC transmission system. But in case the DSB-AM system or the ordinary amplitude modulator system, along with this term, there is another term, that is the unmodulated carrier. So when the message signal will be switched off for the ordinary AM transmission system, this term will be vanished, but the unmodulated carrier term will be there. Okay, that's why some amount of power will be always transmitted. So it is the difference between DSB-SC, another difference between the DSB-SC and ordinary amplitude modulated signal. Now if you want to see the time domain of the DSB-SC modulation, it is just like the over modulated AM signal. Okay, so that it is the random message signal. I am considering it is the random message signal, and this one is the carrier signal. If you do the product of these two, if you by using a product modulator, you should obtain this kind of DSB-SC signal at the output of it. It will have the form of multiplication of these two. And look at this particular waveform. It is like the over modulated amplitude modulated signal. Okay, and there is a phase reversal. See that this is the positive envelope starting here. It is just following the time behavior of the message signal, and here is one phase reversal point, and again here this is the phase reversal point. It is the negative envelope, and again phase reversal here and here will occur. Okay, so here the effectively the envelope of the modulated signal is not carrying the message, because if you do the envelope detection, this phase reversal will cause the phase distortion. Just I have mentioned in earlier classes where I have discussed the over modulated AM signal. So envelope detection is not possible for DSB-SC signal reception. Okay, reception of the DSB-SC signal or detection of the DSB-SC signal, ordinary envelope detection is not possible. That's why synchronous detection or coherent detection has to be there. I'll discuss later what does it mean by coherent or synchronous. That kind of special technique has to be used in order to detect the DSB-SC signal at the receiver end. Now coming back to the frequency domain information of the DSB-SC modulation. It was the time domain expression of the modulated signal, multiplication of message signal and the carrier signal. Now if you want to have the frequency domain of this particular expression, then you have to do the Fourier analysis. That means the Fourier transform. So again Fourier transform pairs are introduced here. MT is the message signal in time domain, MF, capital MF will be the frequency domain message signal. Similarly CT, CF, ST, SF are the Fourier transform pairs. Now if you do the Fourier transform of the modulated signal ST, you should obtain the SF, that is the Fourier transform of ST. Okay, so Fourier transform of this particular equation, time domain equation, and you know that how this Fourier transform has to be done. This cosine term has to be decomposed into the exponential terms. Okay, so this is the positive exponential term and this is the negative exponential term. Taking out the constant term AC by 2 out, you should have these two different terms within this bracket after doing the multiplication inside the bracket. Okay, it is a distribution property, simple. So after that individually you have to do the Fourier transformation of this term as well as this term. For this term it will come as the MF by using the frequency shifting property. You will have the capital MF minus FC, and this term will give you the capital MF plus FC. So it is nothing but the lower side band and this is nothing but the upper side band. So now MT actual message signal will have this kind of bandwidth or the band that is a spectrum. Okay, look at the frequency domain. It is your message signal. Suppose it has this kind of spectrum starting from minus W up to W. Okay, so in the frequency domain, physical frequency domain, you have to consider it as a baseband signal starting from 0 to W. So its bandwidth was W, and it is a carrier signal. It is centered. It is a single frequency carrier and cosinusoidal signal. It is having the amplitude of FC and frequency of AC and frequency of FC, and it is the imaginary part of that carrier signal. If you do the DSB-SC modulation, then see that just this particular spectrum will be translated up to the FC here, as well as it will be translated to the minus FC here. Okay, so it will be like that. But unlike the AM modulation, here there will be no carrier term. That means at the FC this spike will not be there. That means this delta function will not be there. Only the message signals upper side band and the lower side bands will be present here, centered at the FC. Okay, And now what will be the bandwidth of the modulated signal? Bandwidth will be highest frequency component minus the lowest frequency component. That means the fc plus w minus fc minus w. That will give you the 2w. That means in terms of the bandwidth, there is no improvement with respect to the ordinary amplitude modulation. But in terms of power, there will be a huge improvement. I will discuss here. So it is the bandwidth. So in terms of bandwidth, it is same as the DSB AM. Now I am discussing about the power. Okay. Say that in case of the ordinary AM, your transmitted power was PC in bracket 1 plus mu square by 2. Mu was the modulation index or the modulation factor. Generally, it should be smaller than 100% or smaller than 1 in ratio. Okay. So that means the first term here, the first term is PC plus PC mu square by 2. Okay. So first term PC is nothing but the power of the unmodulated carrier, and next term PC mu square by 2 is the summation of power of the upper sideband as well as the lower sideband. Okay. So it is the second term is notifying the sideband power, and the first term is notifying the unmodulated carrier power. That means in case of the DSBSC signal, where DSBSC modulated signal, where the carrier is already suppressed, only the sideband power will remain. Okay. And now what should be the transmission efficiency? You know that transmission efficiency means amount of power used to transmit the information divided by total power. Okay. So here amount of power used to transmit the information will be the total sideband power. This is the upper sideband plus lower sideband power. So it will be in the numerator, and in the denominator it will be the total power. It is the same as the sideband powers. Okay. So that's why it will come as 1. That means 100% transmission efficiency. Physically 100% transmission efficiency can be obtained from here. So that means in case of the ordinary AM, transmission efficiency can reach up to 33.33%, and most of the power 66.67% was used for transmitting the unmodulated carrier, which was wasteful. So in this case, by suppressing the carrier power, we can have 100% transmission efficiency, and you can only transmit the information bearing carrier, information bearing message, that is the sidebands. Okay, upper sideband as well as the lower sideband. If you have the this figure is for the mu equal to 0, that means 100% modulation. Okay, and sorry, this figure will be irrespective of the mu value. Okay, because mu square and mu square will be cancelled out. But now if you want to compare the transmitting power between the DSBSC and ordinary AM, you have to compare it for certain values of mu. Okay, suppose mu value is taken as 100% modulation. Put here in the numerator, it is the term corresponding to the PT DSBSC, and in the denominator the term corresponding to the PT AM will be here, and by putting mu equal to 1, you will having this kind of ratio 1 by 3, that means 33.33%. Okay, so that means transmitted power in DSBSC modulation is just the 33.33% of the transmitted power of the ordinary AM modulation. So there is a huge save. Almost 66.67% of power can be saved by using this modulation technique. So we are now getting some amount of advantage in terms of power, but we are not still getting any advantage in terms of bandwidth, because now the bandwidth of the modulated signal is same as the bandwidth of the modulated signal for the ordinary AM. Both of them are 2W, okay, twice of the message bandwidth. Now if you want to have some insight of this particular modulation process, you can do the single tone analysis also. For that case, MT can be considered as a sinusoidal signal, AM amplitude cos 2 pi FM T, okay, and carrier is that. And if you do the DSBSC modulation, that means you are multiplying these two signals, okay, by using the product modulator. If you multiplying these two signals, it will come as this. Okay, and after decomposing this cos A multiplied by cos B term, you will get cos A minus B plus cos A plus B. That means this term is FC minus FM. This term is nothing but the lower side band, and this term is nothing but the upper side band. So this particular equation is the DSBSC modulated signal for single tone modulation. And if you do the Fourier transform of this particular equation, you will obtain the Fourier transformation frequency domain information of the single tone modulation. Just do that by yourself. Just decompose these two terms in the exponential terms and use the frequency shifting property of Fourier transformation. You will obtain these delta functions, out of which these two delta function will represent the positive frequency axis, upper side band and lower side band, and these two will represent the negative frequency axis, upper side band and lower side band. Okay, these two are actually the physical signal. Okay, now as I mentioned earlier, simple product modulator can be used as the DSBSC generator, or DSBSC generation can be done by using simple product modulation, multiplying the two signals. One is the MT and CT. At the output, you should get the DSBSC signal. Now, and also I have already mentioned, since the DSBSC signal is suppressing the carrier, then in the time domain, phase reversal of the signal envelopes is must. That's why actually envelope is not carrying the message. That's why we cannot detect the DSBSC signal by means of simple envelope detector, just like the AM detection technique. So you have to use some special technique here, that is called the coherent detection. Coherent detection means in the receiver you must have the knowledge of the carrier signal. That means at the transmitter some message is there, you are modulating that message by means of a carrier signal, that is the AC cos 2 pi FCT. That means carrier signal's frequency is FC. Okay, at the receiver you must have the knowledge of that FC. That means at which frequency your transmitted message is modulated. If you know that particular frequency, you can locally generate that particular sinusoidal signal having that frequency, or cosinusoidal signal having that frequency locally at your receiver. Okay, suppose it is your receiver, it is receiving the modulated waveform ST. ST is the modulated waveform, that is the multiplication of MT and CT, which is transmitted from the transmitter, and it is reaching at the receiver, it is received by antenna or something else. Okay, and now at the receiver locally you are generating same carrier here. Okay, again at the receiver you are generating the carrier AC cos 2 pi FCT. If you able to generate the same carrier here from the knowledge of the frequency of the carrier which is transmitted, so do the same thing as it has already done in the transmitter. That means use another product modulator here, just receive the ST or modulated signal and multiply that modulated signal with the locally generated carrier. Okay, at the output you should get VT. What will be VT? See that it is MT coherent detection I am talking about. It is MT messaging at the transmitter. What are happening? It is given here again for recapitulation up to equation number 3. See that it was a message, it was the carrier, and after multiplying you are getting, or after getting the product modulation, you are getting this modulated signal. Equation number 3. It is transmitted from the transmitter and received here. Okay, and at the receiver you are locally generating the same carrier AC cos 2 pi FCT. If you are able to do that, do the product modulation. That means VT, output of the product modulator at the receiver, VT you will obtain ST multiplied by CT. Put the expression of ST here and CT expression from here. Here AC square will be there. Whatever. If you don't bother about the magnitude of the locally generated carrier, you can consider it as 1. Okay. So important thing is that this cosinusoidal term will become square of the earlier one. Okay, because you are multiplying this particular equation with cos 2 pi fct, which is generated at the local carrier as the local carrier in the local oscillator. Okay, so this term is becoming square of square. Now if you consider it is the cos square theta, if you want to decompose it, it will be half of in bracket 1 plus cos 2 theta. Okay, so this half is here and 1 plus cos, see that 2 theta means 4 pi fct. Okay, so it is corresponding to 2 fc, frequency will be the 2 fc. Okay, now see that what are the frequency components of these two terms of the Vt. These two terms are there. First one term is the AC mt by 2. So it is nothing but the scaled version of the message signal. Is not it? This one is the mt multiplied by AC by 2. So it is nothing but proportional to the message signal. It is the first term. And second term is that this one multiplied by cos of 4 pi fct. That means this term is nothing but a frequency or the cosinusoidal waveform having the frequency of 2 fc. Okay, so by using a simple low pass filter whose upper cutoff frequency is W, which will not allow any frequency beyond W at the output of it, you can just cut out or allow this first term out of the low pass filter, and second term having the frequency of 2 fc will be rejected by the filter. Okay, so connect a low pass filter having the upper cutoff frequency of W here, put the Vt, that is the output of the product modulator, at the input of the local low pass filter, and at the output we will obtain this one. It is the scaled version of the mt, which is notified at m cap t or the estimation of mt. Okay, it is not same as mt, it is a scaled version of mt, but you can say it is proportional to mt. So that means you are getting back the message signal or is proportional message signal at the output of the coherent detection. Why it is called the coherent? Coherent means synchronous. Synchronous means which is occurring simultaneously. Okay, why it is called coherent or synchronous detection? Because from the transmitter you are transmitting the message by modulating it by means of cos 2 pi fct, that's carrier signal, and at the receiver simultaneously you are receiving that signal by the same carrier signal, by using the same carrier signal having the form of cos 2 pi fct, by multiplying the modulating carrier by means of that. If this cos 2 pi fct is in phase with the transmitted carrier, then only you will get the output proportional to the message signal. Otherwise some error will be there. Okay, it will be discussed now. Suppose let me tell you that that's why it is called the synchronous. That means the carrier generated at the transmitter by which the signal, message signal, is modulated and transmitted should be synchronous with the carrier generated at the receiver by the local oscillator. Okay, they should be synchronous. That means they should be in the same phase. Then only you will get the output as proportional to the message signal. But thing is that practically how can it be possible when the transmitter and receivers are so much far away? Then how can you synchronize them? That means if you generate one sine wave here at your home, at Coach Bihar if I want to generate another sine wave having the same phase, it is not possible. Some phase difference will be there. It is a practical case. Okay, so at the local oscillator there must be some initial phase which will be different from the transmitted carrier. Okay, so that phase difference I am considering as phi. Phi is the phase difference between the transmitted carrier and locally generated carrier at the receiver. So what will be the expression of Vt now? Now amplitude is this one. Okay, suppose amplitude of the locally generated carrier is a dashed c, it is s dash c, and cos 2 pi fct plus phi. This phi is the phase difference between the transmitted carrier and locally generated carrier at the receiver end. Okay, so this locally generated carrier is multiplied with the received modulated signal. So receive modulated signals having the expression of AC cos 2 pi fct. Okay, just put the value here and you will have this term. Okay, now by suppose this one is the cos A and this one is the cos B. If you deploy the formula of cos A multiplied by cos B, then you will get this expression. First term, see that cos 4 pi fct plus phi. This will be the first term, cos A plus B. This is nothing but the cosinusoidal signal having the frequency of 2fc, which can be simply rejected by the low pass filter having the upper cut of frequency of W. Okay, there is no problem. By means of low pass filter, this term will be rejected. But plus cos phi, this term is associated with the DC term, which will be multiplied by half of AC dashed cos MT. Okay, so at the output of the low pass filter, here you should obtain this particular equation, or this particular output will be the output of the synchronous detector. Now this extra term cos phi is arising due to the phase difference between the transmitted carrier and the locally generated carrier at the receiver end. Okay, so what does it mean? That means some amount of phase error is there, at the receiver end. Now this particular phi is called the phase error. Remember, it is called the phase error. See that this particular thing which I have discussed is shown here by the block diagram. It is the input ST, that is modulated DSB-AC modulated signal. It is a locally generated carrier which is having phi amount of phase difference with the transmitted carrier. It is Vt, which is generated by multiplying the locally generated carrier with the ST, and after doing the low pass filtering, the first term will be cancelled out, but the second term will be remained here as a factor, cos phi. This cos phi is called the phase error. Okay, although the empty cap means the estimated message signal at the output of the synchronous detector. It should be proportional to empty when phi is constant. See that when this phi or the phase difference is constant, it is not varying with time, then this particular cos phi will be also a constant. So this whole thing will come as a scaling factor to the MT. So there will be no problem. M cap T will be proportional to MT. So you can have the simple estimation of the message signal from the synchronous detector. Okay, there will be no problem. Okay, for that case, when the phi will be equal to 0, you know that cos phi will be equal to 1, the M cap T will be maximum then, and when phi is equal to either plus 90 degree or negative 90 degree, then cos plus minus 90 degree are always 0. So your M cap T will be 0 there. This particular null points, because at phi equal to plus 90 or minus 90, if it is occurring, if this amount of phase difference is there in between the locally generated carrier and transmitted carrier, then the output of the synchronous detector will be simply 0. That is a huge problem. Okay, so this particular phase difference should be avoided, and this is called the quadrature null effect. Okay, so simply you have to avoid this quadrature null effect, one thing. And another thing is that somehow if the phi is independent of time or constant, then you can say that simply the output of the synchronous detector will be a scale factor of the message signal, transmitted message signal. So there will be no problem. But if the phi is changing with time, then what will happen? Cos phi will be a problem. Then cos phi will always affect the received signal, and efficient reception is not possible. Okay, so in order to eliminate this problem, because it is very simple that it is very simple to understand that within the atmosphere, if you use the wireless transmission, within the atmosphere, huge amount of ionic phenomena, charge particles are there, different gas charge particles are there, which are actually changing their polarities with time, their densities with time, etc., etc. Different scintillation effects are occurring within the atmosphere, weather effects, etc., etc. there. That's why it is very natural to have the phase difference between the transmitted carrier and locally generated carrier at the receiver end are changing with time. Okay, phi is changing with time is quite natural in practical case. That's why simple coherent detection will be always disrupted. You cannot have the efficient reception by means of simple coherent detector. It is not possible. You have to have certain other more complex detection technique. That is called the Costas receiver. Okay, remember that Costas receiver is one technique by which you can eliminate the effect of time varying phase difference between transmitted and locally generated carrier. Okay, so what is this effect? Say that it is the block diagram of the Costas receiver. Suppose DSBSC wave is transmitted, which is received at the receiver, and this wave is now channelized in between two channels. In the upper side, it is fed to an product modulator, and the lower side again parallelly it is fed to another product modulator. But at the upper side, the another input of that product modulator is cos 2 pi fc plus phi. That means I am considering that phi is there and it is time varying. Okay, and in this product modulator I am multiplying the received DSBSC modulator waveform with the cos 2 pi fc plus phi. Okay, and after that, that product will be transferred through the low pass filter, and at the output you should obtain this one. You should obtain this one. See that it is half AC MT multiplied by cos phi. Cos phi is that phase error. Okay, and phi is varying with time. Again, come to the lower side. See that the same locally generated, it is a locally generated carrier which is cos 2 pi fct. Same locally generated carrier is now given 90-degree phase shift. 90-degree phase shifter is there, which is giving 90-degree phase shift to the cos 2 pi fc plus phi. That means 90-degree phase shift is given to cos 90-degree minus 90-degree phase shift. That means if you give minus 90-degree phase shift to any cosine term, you will get the sinusoidal term. That will be sine 2 pi fc t plus phi. Okay, if you multiply the st received modulated signal with the sinusoidal term of the carrier, then you will obtain the similar expression, but in place, after low pass filtering, in place of cos phi you will get the sin phi. Okay, do this multiplication by your own, and after low pass filtering just reject the sinusoidal term corresponding to the 2fc frequency. Okay, and the rest of the term will come as the output of the low pass filter, and that will contain the sin phi. Okay, see that in the upper side, this particular channel, since it is used to multiply the received signal with the local oscillators generated carrier signal, in phase carrier signal, that's why it is called the I channel or the in phase channel. Okay, but at this channel we are multiplying the received signal with the quadrature of the carrier signal. Quadrature means 90-degree shifted, minus 90-degree or 90-degree shifted. Quadrature of the carrier is multiplied with the received signal. That's why this channel is called the Q channel or the quadrature channel. Okay, and output of this will associate with the sin phi. Okay, both of these two terms will be fed to a circuit which is known as the phase discriminator. What is phase discriminator? Phase discriminator is a circuit I am going through. Phase discriminator is a circuit just like this. Okay, see that if you consider generally phi value, although it is time varying with the time, but this phi value is not very high. It is very near to 0 actually. In radian, it is very near to 0. Generally, in degrees, it should be remaining within the limit of 0 to 5 degrees. Okay, very small phi will be there, phase difference between a transmitted carrier and the receiver locally generated carrier. That phi is time varying, but its variation should be in between 0 to 5 degrees. Okay, so if the phi is very small, then you can just write that output of the in channel should be equal to half of AC MT, because you know that when phi is small, cos phi should be equal to 1, and if phi is very small, then sin phi should be equal to phi. Okay, so in channel output will be in place of cos phi, I am putting it 1 here, see that, and in place of sin phi I am putting it equal to multiplied by phi. That means this factor is becoming now phi. Sin phi is equal to phi when phi is very small. Okay, so these two are the output of the two low pass filters, one for the I channel, another is for the Q channel. Okay, so Q channel output and I channel output are both given as input to a circuitry which is known as the phase discriminator. Now phase discriminator is nothing but a multiplication, that means operation is nothing but multiplication, after that averaging, okay, time average over a time period. So after multiplication of in channel term and Q channel term, see that in channel term is this one, Q channel term is this one. If you multiply them within the phase discriminator's first step, output of that multiplicator will be equal to 1/4 of AC square MT square multiplied by phi. Okay, so it will be the input of the next section, that is the simple, it will do the average operation. Okay, that means the simple integration. If you do that, see that if you do, since this particular portion is purely AC, average of purely AC will be equal to 0. Okay, sorry, purely AC, one term will be AC, another term will be DC. So AC term will be simply equal to 0. You will only obtain the DC term, and DC term will contain the phi. Okay, so output of this will be proportional to phi. Output of the phase discriminator as a whole, these two steps are nothing but the phase discriminator. As a whole, it will be equal to V0. V0 is proportional to phi. So that means at any time, if phi is increasing, V0 will also increase. If phi is decreasing, then V0 will also decrease. Okay, this V0 is the output of the phase discriminator. That means at here you will obtain V0. It is given as the input to a VCO. VCO means voltage control oscillator. Okay, voltage control oscillator will generate a signal which has the constant frequency, but its phase, initial phase, will be controlled by the input voltage. Okay, when input voltage is high, then the phase of output of the VCO, phase of the output of the VCO will be smaller. Okay, and if the input voltage is smaller, then phase of the output voltage of VCO will be larger. Okay, now see that at any instant of time, if phi value is increased, then this phi value will be it will be not reflected from the in channel, because in channel this cos phi is becoming actually 1. Okay, but it will be introduced to the phase discriminator by means of the quadrature channel, because it is proportional to the phi. Sin phi equal to phi for phi is very less. Okay, so it is in the input of the phase discriminator, phi is introduced, and first these two terms will be multiplied. After that, time average is taken, and output of the phase discriminator V0 will be proportional to phi. That means if phi is increased at any time, then what will happen? V0 will be also increased at the output of the phase discriminator. That increased V0 is applied to the VCO now, and as I mentioned, if the input voltage of the VCO is greater, then So I have just discussed earlier the wrong thing. That means if the input voltage is greater, phase output will be also greater, okay, proportional. And if the input voltage is smaller, phase output should be also smaller, okay. So if phi is somehow increased, then what will happen? This V0 is also increased, and due to the increased amount of V0, now phi value generated from the local oscillator will also be increased. Okay, so that means increased phi due to the atmosphere or the channel media will be reflected here by means of the phase discriminator and VCO. Okay, so now the product modulators will get more amount of phi both at the in channel side as well as the Q channel side. Okay, again if you consider at some particular instant phi is decreased, then similarly through the phase discriminator V0 will be decreased, and correspondingly this phi at the output of the VCO will also be decreased. This phi will be introduced to the product modulator by means of cosine in the in channel and through the sinusoidal wave in the Q channel of the Q channel of this receiver. So again it will be compensated. Okay, so in this way the time varying phase problem can be normalized. Okay, so this particular system is using one feedback. Okay, it is a feedback system. So Coaster's receiver uses a feedback system by which you can nullify the effect of time varying phase. So these are the all about the DSB-SC modulation technique. Its generation can be done by using the simple product modulator, and detection can be done by using the synchronous detector or coherent detector if phi is constant. But if phi is time varying, which is in the practical case always, then actually we have to use the Coaster's receiver. Okay, now I am coming to another very important topic, which is the quadrature carrier multiplexing and or called quadrature amplitude modulation. Okay, now see that multiplexing means, I have already discussed in my initial class lecture 1 that multiplexing means sharing of a single resource by means of a number of users. Okay, that means if we use a single channel by 2 or more receivers to transmit the signal, then it is called the multiplexing. Okay, now quadrature carrier multiplexing means 2 users will use the same frequency carrier, but both the frequency carriers will be quadrature to each other. That means user 1 will use the carrier signal as cos 2 pi fct, and user 2 will use the carrier signal as sin 2 pi fct. Cos and sin will be quadrature in nature, and if both of them are using the same channel, although they are using the same carrier frequency, their signals will not be mixed, because see that always the signals will be out of phase to each other. Okay, so actually the quadrature null effect is utilized here. By means of that, we can transmit the 2 signals using a single carrier but quadrature in phase using a single channel. Okay, so it is one form of multiplexing. It is also called the quadrature amplitude modulation. It is a modulation technique. Simultaneously you can transmit 2 signals at a time by using a single carrier, but this carrier frequency, although their carrier frequencies are same, their phase of the carriers will be 90 degree shifted. Okay, so this is the transmitter of QCM, quadrature carrier multiplexing, or quadrature amplitude modulation. QAM and QCM both are same. Okay, now see that M1T is user 1 signal, M2T is the user 2's message. Okay, message signal of the user 1, message signal of the user 2. Now from a local carrier generation at the transmitter, AC cos 2 pi fct is generated. That means it is the carrier. So this carrier is directly given to the product modulator of the user 1. So at the output of it, it will get AC MT1 cos 2 pi FCT. Okay, so it is that. It is the first this one in channel. Obviously, now the carrier is phase with the carrier. Now after that, the same carrier is given minus 90 degree phase shift, and you are getting AC sin 2 pi FCT, and same frequency is there, but now the carrier is 90 degree shifted or quadrature in nature with the earlier one. So this carrier is now used to modulate or DSBSC modulation of do the DSBSC modulation of the second user's message signal. So you will get here AC M2T sin 2 pi FCT, that is that. Okay, so it is the in channel signal, it is the quadrature channel signal, and both of them are now just summed up and transmitted, okay, through a single channel. So transmitted signal will be this one. This one is the first user signal modulated by the cosinusoidal carrier, and second user signals is modulated by sinusoidal carrier, having the same frequency but quadrature in nature. Okay, at the receiver, what will happen? This ST will be received. That means this equation number 1 will be received at the receiver. Okay, now what will be done? At the receiver, obviously, locally generated carrier will be generated. That locally generated carrier will be nothing but cosinusoidal carrier. Okay, its amplitude may be different, and locally generated carrier will now first demodulate by means of the product modulator. The received signal will be demodulated by the locally generated carrier, cosinusoidal carrier. Okay, in channel signal will be that. If you do the analysis, ST is the received signal. You are demodulating this received signal by means of the cosinusoidal locally generated carrier. If you multiply them, just put this equation of ST here in place of ST and do the simplification. If you elaborate these all terms, you will get that only one term will be just proportional to the M1T. This term will be corresponding to 2FC, and this term will be also M2T, that means the user's 2 signal. This term will be also corresponding to 2FC, that means the twice of the frequency of the carrier signal. So by means of the local low pass filter of upper cutoff frequency of W, you can easily reject these 2 terms. Okay, only the first term corresponding to M1T will be there. Scale version of the M1T will be there. So at the output we will obtain M1 cap T, which will be proportional to M1T. Now see that in the lower side, the same received signal will be demodulated by using the 90 degree shifted carrier signal, that means the sinusoidal carrier. Okay, so if you do that, it is the quadrature channel, and you will obtain similarly, just in place of the cos 2 pi FCT, you put sin 2 pi FCT and do the rest. You will find that here M2T will be obtained at the output. Okay, and all other terms will be associated with the 2FC frequency. So at the output of the low pass filter, you will get the estimation of the M2 or M2T cap. Okay, so at the output you will get the user 2 signal. So it is the procedure of reception of the QAM or QCM. Actually, here the bandwidth of the signal is conserved because we are using a single channel of bandwidth 2W to transmit 2 different user signal. Okay, since using the same carrier, since the carrier signals are quadrature in nature, they are mutually out of phase. Okay, that's why they are not mixing, and by using the same bandwidth 2W, we can transmit the 2 different signals. It is doing the conservation of bandwidth. Okay, so it is one special kind of DSBSC modulation. In my next class, I will start the single sideband modulation, because I have already mentioned that DSBSC modulation is advantageous over the simple AM modulation in terms of power. Okay, lots of power will be saved or conserved, but in terms of bandwidth, it is not saving anything. Although it is saving power, the bandwidth is same as the earlier one, that is the 2W, if the W is the bandwidth of the message signal. Okay, so in order to conserve the bandwidth also, you have to transmit either the upper sideband or the lower sideband. That is called the single sideband modulation, which will be the matter of discussion in my next class. Until, thank you.